Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Life as Sash Knows It. I hope you guys are having a very nice day. It's currently pretty sunny here, which is very nice. I spent the morning with my best friend Freya. We went to St Andrew's Lakes, and oh my gosh, it was so nice. We were in the hot tubs, and then we did the cold water plunge, which we'd been before, and I tried to dip my toes in it, and it was unbelievably cold. But luckily today, I went out in the morning, it was a bit breezy, and then it was actually alright. The sun came out. We were like, let's give it a go. Went in the water, had a nice swim in the lake. It was fun. Honestly, I feel so refreshed just from doing it. Like every time I go to this place, so there's hot tubs, there's a sauna, there's a cold water plunge, and there's like a it's like a warm bath. Like it's like a tub that's warm, but it's not bubbly like the hot tub would be. And oh my gosh, every time I go, I'm just like, I could sleep here and stay here forever. Um, But yeah, if you're ever in the Kent area, definitely go see St Andrew's Lakes. I love it. Anyway, I also kind of wanted to talk about. So, in last week's episode, I mentioned that I was going to do a presenting project. And if you haven't seen last week's episode, I think I said last week, yeah, if you haven't seen last week's episode, then I hope that you go listen to it. But I was basically mentioning that I had this really big presenting gig that I was very much looking forward to. And yeah, oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I was so nervous because I was like, oh my gosh, like this is the first time I'm doing this sort of presenting. But I think it went really well. I made mistakes, which was so natural, but I enjoyed every minute of it. And I definitely want to do it again. And if the opportunity is still there next year, if they do it again next year, I have put my interest and said I would love to be involved. And if you guys are nosy and want to know actually what I did, you can follow me on my socials. I should have posted about it by then. I think I'm waiting on some of the pictures, but keep an eye out on my Instagram at Sasha Wiltshire if you would like to be nosy and find out what it is exactly that I did. I'm gonna keep that so that you guys can go over to my Instagram. But yeah, without further ado, before I yap too much, let's actually get in today's episode. So, today we were talking about being unemployed after uni. So, for context, I'm going to give a whole deep dive. I am employed now, but I wasn't when I graduated. I didn't have a job lined up. I know some people did, or some people got a job soon after uni, but I unfortunately wasn't one of them. So, I graduated a year ago. Yeah, a year ago actually. On the 11th of July 2025, I graduated with a first class degree in journalism with my NCTJ qualification. For those of you who don't know, NCTJ is basically an accreditation for journalists. A lot of media companies look for that sort of thing. So I was very happy. I remember after I graduated, I had so much going on. I was celebrating my 21st birthday. So my birthday's in June, but I had the party in July because my mum wanted like the graduation and everything all in the 1 month rather than spreading it out. Do not ask me why. But I actually had a Shrek themed sleepover, so I invited all my closest girls, and yeah, we decorated my living room as like a swamp. I had a cute little green dress on. All the girls had Shrek ears. Again, if you wanna see what that was like, I actually did post a vlog on my YouTube channel at Sash Wiltshire, and it's on my Instagram as well. I posted about it. I'm just plugging myself today, apparently. But it was such a good time. I went to the beach with my friends. I got to do so many different things. I know in September I went to the 10 years of an idea for Chicken Shop Date, so Amelia de Moldenberg's event where she was hosting live panels and workshops and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, honestly, I was living it. I was living a great life. So this was in September. I even hosted what was it called? A watch party for the final episode of The Summer I Turned Pretty, decorated my living room, like all seasidey themed, had like all my friends over. I was doing a lot in terms of just enjoying the fact that I don't have this big looming deadline over my head. I don't need to worry about going back to uni, moving from uni, unpacking my stuff. Like I can finally relax, and I did. And it was quite nice. So I moved back in the May, and I can't even remember what I did in that time. I think I was just chilling. I know I went to go see Alex Warren in June, I'm pretty sure, of last year. Like, it was a very good life. I honestly can't complain. It started to get a bit. I don't want to say dark, but it started to get a bit difficult in September when the money was starting to run out because I'd been working at the start of summer, I would say, to cover me. And I also did freelancing gigs as well. So did two freelancing gigs at two different companies. So I had, money coming in, but they didn't have a regular job. And at the time, that actually really helped me out because I was able to. I'm so sorry if you can hear the noise in the background. I have closed my windows, I promised. But yeah, if I had a job at that time, I wouldn't have been able to freelance for these companies. So one of them, I believe I was there for 2 weeks and then I couldn't do the third week because that was the week of my graduation. And then one of them I only did a week for. And it was such a great experience. I had such a fantastic time. But if I was employed, I wouldn't have been able to do that. So now looking on it, now that I can see it from a different perspective, I was very fortunate. I think for me in that time, it was best for me to not have work. And I just want to have a disclaimer. I'm very fortunate that I have somewhere to live. I have a roof over my head, even though I didn't have a job, even though I didn't have a regular, steady set of income. My mum was so good in supporting me during that time, and my dad, like, they would help me. So I was in a very, very good position where I could afford to freelance those shifts. Now, um, I still have that freedom, but as I'm getting older, I'm trying to think more seriously, to which no, I do need to have a job. I do need to be working to be able to pay rent, to be able to pay stuff for like the food shopping and skincare and all the things that come with being a human and having to pay for things like toothpaste and soap and everything. So, yeah. And then I was unemployed from, I would technically say I stopped receiving money from September to about December. And I received my first job. It was in retail. I'm still working there now, so it's in retail, and I was a Christmas temp at this place. And then my contract kept getting renewed, and then I was kept permanent. So it was amazing. And I love working there. The staff is so great, the environment's great. I think considering it's in retail, for those of you who have worked in retail, you will know that retail is very difficult. It can be very challenging, very demanding, and I actually really enjoy my job, which I'm very fortunate for because I wake up and actually am happy to go, which is fun. But yeah, so that's kind of where I am right now. So I still do freelancing gigs where I can. I'm still looking for different opportunities, still working with different companies where as I can. But I think the most humbling and difficult part was knowing that I literally did everything I possibly could while I was at uni and still haven't landed my dream job yet. And by dream job, I don't mean to, but like, yes, I'm this big time presenter and I'm already there. I more meant the fact that I was working in media, which in a way I am, but not as regularly or as frequent as I would have hoped. So oh my gosh, yeah. So like I said, my course was 3 years long. Went into uni at what time? I went into university in 2022, graduated in 2025. Great experiences, loved it. Uni was great. So just in case you guys want to be nosy, I went to the University of Central Lancashire, but they've renamed it. I'd left and then they renamed it to University of Lancashire. And during my time there, they were emphasizing how important it is to have work experience. Because as much as companies would be like, oh, that's amazing, you have this degree, you're a trained journalist, they want to, or in any role, they want to see that you're actually capable of putting your skill set, putting your knowledge to practice, to work, and that you've done it in that setting. Because I can say, yes, I've trained as a journalist, I know how to write articles, I know how to film, I know how to edit. However, when like a breaking news story happens, will I be able to perform? Will I be able to get the output ready? Can I do tight deadlines? They want to actually see that I've not only learnt this, but have actually lived or done a real case scenario where I've been in that situation, or I understand how to handle it. Because a lot of the time, I know through interview process, they'll ask you, name a time where you've done this, but when it's specifically journalism, they'll ask me, or they might say, okay, Sasha, you're in a newsroom. What's a time in a newsroom where you didn't think a story was very good, but you needed to get the story out by 3 p.m. that day? Things like that. And I guess if you hadn't done it before, you're a bit like, you might be a bit stuck on what to say, because it's kind of hard to know how you would handle a situation if you've not actually been in that situation. So what I did was I worked with lots of different media companies. I'm obviously not going to go and name them all, otherwise this will feel like I'm just trying to, it feel like a CV if I'm going to start naming all of the things and the places that I've worked at. But I've worked at some big media companies and built up my experience. I have been invited back by some of them and done freelancing, and also built so many great connections and relationships through the networking of meeting the different people, going to the different events and stuff. And it's honestly been fantastic. I wouldn't change it for the world, but it was also very difficult because I was out of pocket to go to those work experiences. I had to travel to there. I had to get lunch. Like it definitely did add up. I think majority of the time I was working while I was at uni, literally to save and then spend that money on my half term to go to a work experience. So we had reflection weeks where we had like a random week off to reflect. I guess it was for a break. I don't know what I was reflecting on, to be fair. And anytime we had those times off, that's when I would schedule my work experience in, because usually they would be a week long. So when I did this production company, I did it in my I think I did one in my February half term, and then I went back, I believe, after like my uni had basically finished. And it was quite tiring because obviously those were meant to be weeks I was having a break and, just relaxing or maybe studying for exam. But instead of that, I was doing work experience. Literally every single half term was full of work experience, majority of the time. I remember I did one close to the Christmas period and I went home a week later. So I think we wrapped up like uni in like maybe the 18th of December that year. And I didn't go home straight away. I did work experience in Media City in Manchester. And then I drove home that week, which is obviously fine. Like, to be fair, we do get a month off during Christmas time anyway. Oh, I keep smacking the mic. I'm really bad at that. So I drove closer to Christmas. I don't think it was that close. I might be dramatic, to be fair. I can't remember. But yeah, and I don't regret any of those things. But I think that I believed by not only having my degree, but having my degree and having my work experience and having the portfolio of work that I've built over the last 3 years would put me in a better position when getting work. And no, I'm not saying that I thought I was the only person who thought, oh my gosh, I need to be doing all this stuff. One thing we were taught is visibility. If you want to get into any creative job, is very much visibility. People need to be able to easily find your work, easily find you, easily know what you're about. So for me, that's making sure I'm not up to date, but making sure I'm posting on Instagram, making sure I'm visible on Instagram, like this is what I'm doing. I'm presenting here, I'm doing this, I've just done this podcast episode sort of thing. So anytime I do a podcast episode, I repost it on my main account to showcase what I'm doing, because you genuinely do not know what you're gonna come across. So there was a radio presenter that I met. I'm not gonna say from where, but I met him and he told me that the way he got his job was he was presenting some event. He posted it on his Instagram. Someone from the radio station saw that and they reached out to him, asked him if he'd like to come in and do a radio demo. He did, smash it out of the park clearly, and he's been working there ever since. So you really generally don't know who's looking at your stuff. LinkedIn is a big one. I personally try to keep my LinkedIn as busy as possible in terms of making sure all the relevant information and things about me and what I'm doing are there. So they told us to open that from first year. From first year, they were like, right, you need a LinkedIn account. I didn't even heard of LinkedIn prior to this. And LinkedIn is not specific media. So if you're someone who's not into media, it's literally for any job industry. you can be on LinkedIn and be visible to show if you have any qualifications, if you've got any certifications, what projects you've been working on, what you've been doing recently, lots of different things. And it's a great way for people to discover you. I know that I actually got discovered by a company on LinkedIn, and then I got to present a YouTube video for them. So you genuinely do not know who is watching. So the way I see LinkedIn is literally like a digital CV, and it's a great way also to find jobs. So when I was applying for jobs, I was mostly looking on, I think I mostly look on LinkedIn, to be honest. Indeed was okay, but for what I was going for, I was looking on LinkedIn, unless it was a retail job where I was looking at Indeed. And it was really humbling. I remember I really struggled mentally because I when you don't have money, there's not a lot you can do. And I'm not saying there's nothing you can do, I'm saying there's not particularly a lot. So I drive, and with a car, you need to fill up for petrol. I basically had to ration my petrol because couldn't, I couldn't afford to be driving here, there, everywhere. So, and it was hard. Like, it was very hard because I couldn't just go to see a friend because I'm like, okay, well, I want to see my friend, but I can't afford to drive there, drive back, 'cause she's like 30 minutes away. That's an hour's worth of petrol. And I just can't. So it was literally me stretching money for 3 months. And don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful that I did find a job because a lot of people may be out of work from 6 months to a year plus. So I do not take this job for granted. The fact that I love the job, I love the people, I love the environment, and the fact that I have a job, such a massive thing, because this time and day and age for us people is hard. I'm sure for anyone who is applying for job, looking to move jobs, or just trying to get into their first job, know just how difficult it is to find a job. I think that I spend majority of like, well, there's this one girl who I went to uni with, and we are both very much career orientated, and we regularly talk about at least a few times a week how hard the job market is, how hard we are trying to find a new job. It's not easy out there. It's not for the faint-hearted. And I'm not sitting here trying to be like, yeah, like, I stayed strong. Like, I struggled literally to the point where I felt like I was going insane. I tried to wake up, get and do my work, but because I wasn't really leaving the house, I hated living here. There's no reason to hate living here. Like, now I love living here, but at the time, this house was all I had, basically. I woke up, I had a shower, I went downstairs, I ate, I hung out downstairs all day, and then I went upstairs and I went to bed. And that was probably majority of my routine, really. Like, I definitely I was applying for jobs, but it got to a point where I'd received so much rejection that I was exhausted. And there were a few jobs, I think there was this one job that I applied for, and I really thought I was going to get it. It was like the dream job of my first job. And oh, excuse me, oh, so sorry guys, I feel like the hot tub's made me sleepy. I generally thought I was going to get that job, and I really was confident about it. And when I didn't, I remember, I think I cried. Like, I was really upset. And that's what I want to say, is that's also okay. Like, to get emotional about it, because when you've worked so hard towards something, because 3 years is a really long time. And which is insane, because I genuinely feel like I blinked and I graduated. Like, I was at uni. I feel like I was in my uni room when I first moved in yesterday. Like, it happened all so fast. And it's not like I very much expected, right, bang, I finished uni, dream job. For some people, that happens, and for some people, that doesn't. And it's definitely a hard thing to take in when you feel like you've done, as much as you can, and you're so passionate about it. And I think that's what I find difficult, is I'm so passionate about getting into this field that when I don't, or when I get a rejection email, or or I get ghosted, because that's happened so many times. I've been ghosted by so many companies. It's draining. It's mentally draining. You start questioning yourself. You start questioning your capabilities. You start wondering, is it even possible anymore? Like, are you good enough? Like, those thoughts were circling through my mind so much. to the point I felt like I was at a real low. And where money was going low, it was difficult to, normally if I felt bad or I felt a bit upset or I wasn't having a great day, I'd love to go get a chai latte, or now a matcha because I love a matcha, or just get like a nice drink from a coffee shop, or maybe buy myself a cute top. And I generally, like, I couldn't afford it, so I did feel like I was stuck at home, and it was a lot. And I think especially with social media, seeing other people go out, because not everyone went to uni. Some people did, some people didn't. Some people were still at uni and they still had another year. It was a lot seeing people go out and do things and stuff, or go on holiday. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I really want to be able to do that. I want to be able to go to places and go out for dinner with my girls, or it was a lot. And I, yeah, I just didn't know what to do. I genuinely felt like I was such a low. And I don't think my parents are putting pressure on me, but from all angles, whether it's aunties, uncles, cousins, mum, dad, brothers, sisters, the one question people kept asking me is, oh, how's the job search going? Oh, have you got a job yet? Oh, have you found? And I think they only meant well, they hadn't seen me, they wanted to know, they were rooting for me, but it was so exhausting because it was honestly just this constant reminder that I still hadn't landed a job yet. And I just remember being like, and I remember sitting down with my mum, I was like, I really appreciate you stop asking me, because the more you ask me, it's almost the more that they ask me, the more I didn't want to apply, because I'm just like, do you know what, I'm fed up. I don't want to do this. I don't have the energy. I don't have the capacity to do this right now. I just, honestly, thinking back at it and seeing how I am now, like, although I'm not fully in a job that I hope to pursue my career in, I feel like I'm in a very, very good place from last year. I I now deeply understand that there is so much more to life than work. I've actually said that in previous episodes, that there is so much more to life than work. And once I kind of realized that, I felt like I've built such a beautiful life for myself that not having the job that I was hoping for doesn't hurt as much as it maybe would normally. I have a bit more of a schedule, especially with work. I get up in the mornings, I have a shower, I maybe have some breakfast. Every day looks different, obviously, because I work irregular hours, but I love the every week I almost create this new schedule for myself, and it's in such a better way than it was last year, where I didn't have anything to do, I didn't have a schedule, and I literally just woke up and I was like, what's the point of me having a shower? I'll do it later. I'm literally just going downstairs. But I don't want to, now that I've kind of, I guess, touched on the negative, because the reason why I kind of have gone a bit to the negative side first is because I want to be completely transparent. I want to express to you guys that I was struggling. I was not in a good place. I felt depressed. Again, disclaimer, I felt depressed. I do not have depression. And I was struggling. I didn't know what to do, didn't know how to get out of it. And I don't want you guys to just feel like, okay, great, like she struggled and stuff. I want to help you guys now know what you can do for what I did to help me get out of it, and some advice that I have, because now that it's been a year, I feel like I can talk about this topic with a better understanding, a clearer head, different mindset. So yeah, one of the things that I did was I picked back up my social media. If you're not someone who's into social media, I would just say, and I would kind of put it down to picking back up something that you used to be passionate about, or that you wanted to start doing. Funny enough, one of the things I actually did do is I bought air dry clay. I have not actually done it yet, but I plan on it. But air dry clay, that was one thing I wanted to do, one hobby I wanted to get back into. But specifically for me, it was social media, because it was so important to me. And I remember feeling like, why I very much got into my own head. I was like, why would anyone want to hear what I have to say? Why would anyone want to see my content? Like, I'm just at home doing nothing. Not intentionally, but that's how it felt. And it just, where I wasn't in a good place, content was the last thing on my mind. I didn't want to do it. I wasn't interested. And I was like, right, I need to get back on my content. So I started posting on TikTok again, more so focusing on just posting than being like, right, I need to post 3 times a day. I just wanted to get back into posting without feeling the pressure of having to make the content, because one thing about me is I want my content to feel authentic. I want to be my true self. I don't want to feel like I'm forcing myself to make content because I'm like, oh, I need to make content, I'm just going to push this video out. No, I want you guys to enjoy the content and be able to get to know me and understand me and have conversations with me, but also build like this community where we all feel like we can just have a nice conversation and understand each other and talk about each other's experiences and stuff and tell fun stories. So when I kind of decided that, I didn't want to put so much pressure on it because I didn't want it to feel forced. I wanted it to feel natural. I wanted to create an audience that, could tell I wanted to be there, could tell I loved to be there, could tell I wanted to talk to them. And I mean, I personally think I did that, but I remember it took me a minute to get there because there were a lot of bad days, there were a lot of difficult days. And when I started working in retail during the Christmas period, oh my gosh, if you haven't worked in retail during the Christmas period, or maybe in hospitality, it is difficult. I was basically working like every day. Like, it was hectic. Very, very, very hectic. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, what is going on? This is a lot. But also I kind of loved it because there was so many of us working, and it was so fun and meeting new people and chatting and joking between shifts. I remember when the Christmas period was over and some of the temps were let go, but me and my friend was kept on, and it was dead. Like, me and so this was, again, if you've seen the last episode, this is my friend who's gone to Canada, but we were like, girl, where are all the people at? Like, it's quiet. It's so weird. And we were like, we low-key miss it. Like, the stress of Christmas was insane. It was to another level. But we low-key missed how hectic it was in a weird way, because it felt so underwhelming. I was like, oh, this is so... And then January hit and it was like crickets. It's like, where are the people at? Where is everyone? So that was like such a funny experience. But because I was working so much, I didn't really do content much in December. I literally tried my best to do it, and it was really difficult. And as it got into the new year, I was like, right, let's get things going. I've got a job. Let's keep moving. So for that part, it did become slightly easier because it felt like there was a slow progression. But I kind of want to talk in the perspective of before I got the job, because I know some of you listening may have not actually got a job yet or not found a job in retail. So I want to talk from that perspective. But also, I definitely felt like having a job helped, because that was initially the next thing I was working towards, was finding a job. Another thing I did was going back into my old hobbies. So for me, my content creation is very much, it is a hobby, but it's also partly kind of like, I view it as work in a way, in terms of, right, I need to film this, then I've got to edit it, that sort of thing. Whereas my hobbies are more so things I just do for myself. So I don't document my hobbies. Like, I know there are some accounts that might document when they're crocheting. They might be like being a crocheting account, or there might be like a book talk account, which I love. Oh my gosh, I love a book talk account. Anyway, I'm gonna go off topic, but I started picking up reading. So one of my books I want to say about is, I was in a bit of a reading slump, and then I read Onyx Storm. No, I didn't. That's not the first book. Fourth Wing by, oh my gosh, I don't want to get her name wrong. I should know this, guys. It's actually really, really bad. I really should know this. I think it's Rebecca Yarros. I feel like I've butchered her last name. Yeah, Rebecca Yarros. Sorry, guys. I just didn't want to get her name wrong. Read that book. I was nervous because it was like 700 pages, I think. Or maybe like 600. And I fell in love. Oh my gosh, I fell in love with the book. It was so great. And then I got into a bit of a reading slump again, for personal reasons, and then I read it again. So I'm currently on the second book, but that was such a great book. It was my intro to fantasy. But when I was unemployed, the specific book series I was reading was actually Off Campus, guys. I always wanted to read it. because I heard it was very, very good online. And I was like, okay, let me give it a go. And then I think I bought the book set, and then I found out it was being turned into an Amazon Prime series. I love Amazon Prime. Thank you guys for giving the most best show. The most best show. Thank you for giving me one of the best, my favorite shows. I living for it. Ali Hayes is one of the characters. I love her, and it's technically her season next season. Super excited. But I love Garrett and Hannah. I love their story. It's so cute. Yeah, I love that, and that was definitely such a good way to help me, because where I wasn't feeling great, reading for me was a form of escapism. It felt like I was literally being transported into another world. So during my unemployment, I was at uni in America, but hanging out with the hockey teams, going to the house parties. It was, guys, it was a great experience, I have to say. But yeah, that really helped me. Although I did then develop a problem when I did start getting money, because then I started going to the works and buying books for £5 all the time. And my mum put me on a book buying ban because she said I was buying books faster than I was reading them. And she said that I'm running out of bookshelf space, which I am. I'm sorting it out, guys, I promise. But I was like, it brought me joy. Honestly, it brought me joy, especially when I'd find books that were on my TBR. So, in case you don't know, TBR means to be read. But there was like books that I found. I think it was like Katie Brent or Kate Brent. She had a book that I really, really wanted. I saw it in the works. So I was like, you're coming home with me. So that was one of the ways. I also did crocheting a little bit. I think I crocheted a scarf. Yes, I did. I crocheted a scarf. It was something. Would I personally wear it again? Probably not, but it was very, very fun to make. And usually, if I'm never going to wear it, I usually just unravel the wool and then we'll make something else with it. But I haven't crocheted in a while, but I do love it. I think it was a bit difficult because obviously you have to remind yourself of the stitches, which can be time consuming. But when I didn't want to do that, or I wanted to get out the house for a little bit, I used to go on walks. So it wasn't the warmest weather. I think I used to wear like joggers and like a hoodie and stuff. And I had my headphones in, my little cute hairstyle, because I wasn't trying to like squash my curls. But yeah, I remember I just would go on walks. I think usually 30-minute walks. I literally just walk around my area and then come back home. And that helped my mental health massively, because it got me out the house, got me seeing some daylight, got me breathing some fresh air, and it was great. Do not get me wrong, I haven't done it in a while, and usually me and my boyfriend will go on walks, like if we felt that we've been in the house too much or we need to like get our bodies moving, we'll usually go on like a nice walk around the area. And I have a love for it. I genuinely have a love for it. Like, I know people, when people hate, I mean, maybe they do, maybe they don't. I know I've had people go, oh, I'm not going on a walk. Like, my mental health's bad. A walk's not going to fix it. And it might not fix it, but it's definitely going to make you feel better. Like, I can't tell you a time I've went on a walk and I've not felt better afterwards. Normally, it was to clear my head or just feel better. Even today, I know it costs money, but when I went to the lake, oh my gosh, like I literally felt so much better, and I really needed that. It was so refreshing, so calming. Like, I literally couldn't be angry, mad, tired in that space, because I was just like, oh my gosh, the sun's on me and the breeze is nice, and I just felt in such a great headspace. And to be fair, I'd been quite tired recently because I had such an intense week last week. I've got quite an intense week this week slash next week. Well, I say less weeks. Next week's probably less, but I really like having that being able to recharge today helped. But on the days where I couldn't afford to pay to go to the lakes, I would go on a walk, and it very much helped me kind of get out of my own head. And another thing I used to do is, I'm a very big Roblox fan. I love playing a horror game on Roblox. So me and my friend Lana will play Roblox horror games, and great way to just have a laugh and just play a fun game. And sometimes I also found that if I couldn't afford to go see my friends, I would call them, or we would have a chat conversation. So another one of my friends, we send each other Snapchat videos. Literally, sometimes they are 15 minutes long, and I love it. It's like watching a little vlog of what she's been up to or what she's done, and I love it. And I will send it back, and we did that a lot back and forth because we couldn't always see each other regularly because I couldn't afford to go to her, and that was great in itself. I always looked forward to answering her videos and watching them and just like, yeah, knowing what she was up to. It was so fun. And that definitely helped me mentally because it meant that I could still talk to my friend, the girl one of my best friends who lives in Sheffield. We literally talk. There is not a day we haven't spoken. We saw each other. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I said, I actually saw her. Um, when was it? I saw her like last week because I was in Birmingham, and she came and she visited me and we were with each other for maybe like 2 hours. But oh my gosh, I loved her so much. I loved her. I don't know why I said that. I love her so much, and I was so happy to see her, and it was so great. But before then, we'd literally been talking every day, and we hadn't seen each other in a year. But honestly, it didn't even feel like that because I literally talked to her so much, and we always catch up with each other, that it was insane that a year had passed. And we've now decided that we're gonna make plans to potentially see each other in a couple months because we are not going out along without seeing one another. But having the conversations on the phone really helped me because it keeps those connections solidified. Because I feel like when you're on your own or when you're going through the unemployment phase, I think it's so easy to isolate yourself because you're not feeling great. You're not maybe reaching out. You're not going out. You're not conversing with people because sometimes you're just going through it. And I found that by not all the time, maybe like every couple of months or every week or so, every other week or so, having those conversations with my friends really helped me mentally because I could talk about something other than applying for a job. And it was fantastic. But I also, in terms of making sure I was applying for jobs, I kind of gave myself the little task of, okay, I'm going to apply to maybe 3 applications a week and see where it goes. One thing I tried not to do is LinkedIn Easy Apply. I tried to actively tailor each CV, which is why I made sure I was like, right, I'm going to give myself maybe about 3 applications a week because some of them would literally take me 2 days to do because I was extensively putting in so much stuff and tailoring it to specifically to the job description and stuff. And I know people, that seems like an obvious thing to do when you're applying for jobs, but it can get really exhausting when you've put like, I don't know, I've dedicated 2 days to this one job opportunity and I didn't get it, and another one I did the same and they didn't even contact me. They didn't even say anything to say if I did or didn't get it or nothing. And I remember that was very, very humbling. But where I am now, I'm still looking for a job in the field. I am working in retail in a job I actually really enjoy. I have less money constraints because I'm still earning money, but still have some, as I'm getting older, I'm, beginning to pay rent, and I do love my makeup and my skincare, and I'm telling you now, those things add up. um, I feel like I could easily spend like £100 on skincare slash makeup because those prices, they're not for the week. Like every time I have to do it when things are running out, I'm like, oh, why is everything running out at the same time? But yeah, and now I'm in a place where I'm juggling my relationship, work, freelancing, my content, and because I've been keeping myself busy and I feel like I'm working towards something, I'm in a better space. And just because I don't have that job yet doesn't mean I can't be happy and be fulfilled in life in other ways. But I guess what I'm trying to say is this is probably going to be one of the most difficult places you'll be. I'm going to be very, very honest. But you will come out the other end. And what I'm still a year on, and yes, I don't necessarily have my dream job, but I have built such a life for myself that almost it's not the end of the world. It's not the only thing that I have going for me because I had worked on other things of learning that there are other important things in my life that I want to focus on, that I want to put energy and time and love into. And my advice would be do not give up. Keep going, keep trying, because at the end of the day, you you don't want the reason to not make it to be yourself. You don't want to be the reason you don't make it. I would much rather the reason I be that I don't make it that someone didn't give me the opportunity. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I know I did. But I want you guys to know you're not alone. I know this period is very difficult because people have begun to graduate and maybe haven't secured a job role. And your journey might look like mine. You might be a year on and you still haven't found your dream job, or you might be different. And I know someone who got their job in a field that they want to but don't enjoy the company. And I know people who have got the job and maybe they are enjoying it. At the end of the day, you need to focus on your own journey, focus on what you can bring to the table, your capabilities, your skill set. Can you grow it? Can you be doing anything? Is there something that you want to work on? Maybe is this the time to do one of your passions if you want to become a singer, or if you want to get into acting or have more creative endeavors. But I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope it helped. I genuinely do. I would love to hear from you guys. So if you want to keep in contact with me, you guys can message me at Life as Sash Knows It on Instagram and TikTok. Or you can even message me on my personal account, which is at Sasha Wiltshire. And my TikTok is at That News Girl. But thank you so much for listening. You're going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And although you might not be able to see it now, whatever's happening to you in this season has a reason for it. And it took me till now to see it. But have a good rest of your day, morning, evening, night, whenever you were listening to this. And I will speak to you guys next week. Bye.